John chapter 14 deals with common struggle that we all go through. Chapter 14 starts with Jesus saying like this, "Let not your hearts be troubled." When Jesus says about heart, it is not the physical heart. He is dealing with the heart, what is called as the seat of your emotions. One part that is very sensitive in all of us, which can get easily affected. It can get troubled. And one most common reason, the fears and worries about what is there in the future. And that's what Jesus is dealing with in this portion. And the commonest response that many times we tend to run away from those situations. In Bible we can see the people of Israel, they wanted to run away to Egypt because they were afraid of the giants that were the promise. And when we read Psalm 78, which recounts the failures of the Israel, it speaks about the tribe of Ephraim. Even though they were fully dressed, on the day of battle, just they turned back. And God was so upset with them. Running away from the situation can happen to anyone. How much ever faith you may be having. The classical example is the great prophet Elijah. One day he had great faith to bring down fire and kill all the prophets of Baal. Next day, at the threat of Queen Jezebel, he ran away kilometers. And sometimes we feel we are so helpless dealing with that emotion, dealing with that fear, dealing with that desire to run away. But how does that verse start? It starts by saying, "Do not let," which means control. You can decide whether your heart should get troubled. In Proverbs 4:23, which says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." The Bible says you're not a helpless victim to what happens in your heart. John 14, where Jesus says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled," is chapter 13. Jesus desperately longed to spend the last Passover speaking to them. He told, "I am going to get betrayed. I am going to go away." And the disciples were disturbed. They were troubled in their heart. What is the treatment Jesus gives to this problem? Verse 1, Jesus is saying, the cure of that worry in your heart is believing in God, trusting in God, depending on God. If your heart is full of trust, dependence on God, there is no room for worry. Sometimes, like Pastor said, sometimes to hear is one thing, but to experience it practically is sometimes different. So experiential understanding of what Jesus told. Look at Psalm 11, a Psalm of David. David is describing a time in which he was faced with fears in his life. David is being tempted, to run away, go to a safe place. His friends are telling him, because the wicked people have made plans against you to destroy you. When the foundations are being destroyed, there is no hope. When the law is broken down, when the judiciary is broken down, what can righteous do? Let's just run away. Run away, David. Run away. Looks like a very sound advice, rational advice. Recognize it is the voice of Satan. He spoke that to Jesus lying on the cross. If you stay there, just like Jesus stood there, you will be the cause of salvation to many. But if you run away, you are yielding to Satan. How did David meet this pressure to run away? How did he answer their arguments? You're telling me to run to the safe place? I will run, but I will run to the Lord. In the Lord, I will take refuge. Every time those thoughts hits against you, doesn't matter where you are sitting, you can just close your eyes. And in a moment, you can run to that refuge, to God. And as soon as you run to your refuge, start seeing things differently. David then began confessing certain facts. The first, God is in his holy temple. There is one temple nobody can touch. God is in his holy temple. Next thing, he is on the throne. The kings and kingdoms, authorities and kings has fallen down, but God is still on the throne. He is one in authority over this nation, over this universe, in control. So you don't need to just run away. The next thing, he observes the sons of man. His eyes watches them. There is nothing that is escaping his attention. You just say, God saw it, and he will, do whatever is necessary. Then he continues to say, he has feelings about that. When the righteous does not run away, he stand firm, trusting in the Lord, he is happy. Then Then David say, I consider all this and I know one thing. I know that one day God will deal with the wicked. God judges the violent. God's punishment is real. We can trust God. He is a fair God. The final thing he says, God is righteous. He loves justice. He is good. He loves goodness. There are only two eternal destinies, either eternal fire or the face of God. He is saying that the one who is standing upright, not running away, they will see the face of God. When you read John 14, Jesus is also saying the same thing. Believe in God, believe in me. And if you keep believing, I will come back again and will take you to the Father's house, where you will see the Father's face forever. Even as you are believing and standing, even as your hearts are feeling troubled, there is some help. And Jesus told about 3 helps that are available. The first help, verses 12 to 14 of chapter 14, he says, ask, pray, about anything. Even as you stand there, still not finding rest to your soul, he's saying, pray about those things. Pray about whatever is troubling you. Pray about anything. If it is for the glory of God, you will experience the power of God in your life. The second help he told, I am going to send somebody who is going to stand with you. Somebody who is going to strengthen you like a fort. Comfort. That is actually the word means. It's not just a soothing feeling. He makes you like a fort, able to face, who is that person? Holy Spirit. Word meaning of paraclete, who will stand alongside. It goes on to say like this. In verse 26, he will teach you all truth. We need the Spirit to open our eyes to these truths. He says that the Spirit will teach you all the truth. And the final thing Jesus says, my peace I give to you. It is not like the peace that the world gives. What is the difference between the peace Jesus gives? The world, the peace means when no problems, everything is okay, it is peaceful. But the peace of Jesus is different. It is a peace that caused him to sleep when roaring and there was a storm. He says that you can receive that peace into your life. The peace that passeth all understanding into your life. The book of Hebrews says the same warning again. Hebrews 10:37. In just a little while he will come and will not delay. But my righteous one will live by faith. And I take no pleasure in the one who shrinks back. But we do not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved. Do not run away, my brothers and sisters. Live by faith. Depend on him.